Hello, fourth years. Hope you're well. Well done on settling back to a normal school routine after the half term. Last lesson in our live lesson, we looked at catching up. To catch up, you should have written an introduction to the sick rose and why it's and how it creates a sad atmosphere. Okay, so in your introduction, you should tell me the name of the poem, the poet who wrote it, a wee outline of who Rose is, basically, and an explanation why it's a sad poem or creates a sad atmosphere. Finally, giving me a heads up on the three things you're going to look at. In paragraph 2, you should look at something that you consider to be sad in the poem, something that creates a sad atmosphere. In the live lesson, we described how, do you know what, maybe it's, oh, Rose, that's sick, because being told you're sick is sad. And if Rose is a beautiful woman, being told she's sick is a real shame. And the fact that it's, oh, Rose, there's a feeling of love there. So that's going to add to the sadness. I mean, it's sad anyway that a beautiful woman, Rose, is sick. But if you love her, it's even sadder. An exclamation mark. She has no clue. So we talked about how we could create a sad atmosphere. We also talked about how we could organise our thoughts. P. Don't worry, I haven't gone mad. Point, evidence, evaluation. Point. How are you? What's your point? How are you answering the question? Question is, why is this a sad atmosphere? My point is, it's sad because I love Rose, and she's not only ill, she's really, really ill, and she doesn't know it. Evidence, give me some quotes. Oh, Rose, that's sick. An evaluation, tell me. Now, here's the thing with the evaluation. Everybody knows saying to someone you love is that they're really ill is sad. Everyone knows that, yeah? But you have to point out, you have to imagine that the marker is a complete and utter idiot and cannot interpret, oh, Rose, that's sick, as ever being sad. You have to literally take me by the hand and point out every tiny thing that's sad there, even though half the time you're thinking, it's obvious, surely I don't have to do that. You do have to do that, okay? So, today I want you to look at paragraph 3. Remember, this is a 5-paragraph structure, okay? Intro, paragraph 2, 3, 4. These 3 are looking at bits of the poem. And paragraph 5 is conclusion. So today I want you to look at being careful with my fingers in case I accidentally do a bird or something. I haven't, have I? Oh gosh, paragraph 3. Paragraph 3. We're doing paragraph 3 today. So I want you to find me another reason why Rose creates a sad atmosphere. Remember the plan we went through? You don't have to choose copy my plan, but it's there if you need it. We in the live lesson said, look, we've looked at word choice of sick in paragraph 2. Now I'm going to show off and show that I know more than word choice. I'm going to show off that I know what a metaphor is. A metaphor is like a picture that doesn't have like or as in it. So instead of you eat like a pig, you are a mess to eat, and a pig you cannot possibly be, but you eat like a pig. Like means simile. Instead of saying that, I'm saying you are a pig when you eat. That would be a metaphor. It's stronger. Now, there's this invisible worm in the sick rose that comes through the howling storm. So I'm going to pick the howling storm as adding to a sense of a sad atmosphere. Now, we know Rose is sick. A howling storm on top of her being sick makes things worse. That's my point. Here, I'm going to be clever though. I'm going to say that Rose in paragraph 3 could also be the country. So it's sad enough in paragraph 2 that Rose is a beautiful woman and is ill. Paragraph 3, I'm going to mention William Blake creates William Bray creates a sad atmosphere through the metaphor. Rose can be many things. She can be a woman or a country. And this is where I'm explaining myself as though the marker is stupid. England has a symbol of the rose on its flag. So maybe Rose could be England. Therefore, when Rose is sick, maybe Blake is saying that England is sick. So that's my point. There's an extra sadness because not only is Rose a woman, she's also a country. And this country is going through a howling storm. And I would quote, the invisible worm that flies in the night through the howling storm. Then I've got to explain what the howling storm is. I'd have to explain all about the French Revolution, and there was a howling storm because they murdered all their aristocracy in the Reign of Terror. And Blake was petrified that this sense of chaos, this sense of murder, this howling as though you're being murdered, and this storm, everything kind of shattered, is going to come to England. Now, I like to think sometimes of, initially, if someone said, right, I'm going to overtake the teacher in the classroom, you guys might all be like, yeah, that's a great idea, we won't have to work. But the problem is if you did overtake me, so let's assume it's me, if you did overtake me, you might have problems in who took my seat. Maybe they're pretending to be nice and they're not actually nice, and you only realise when you've got some crazy person in front of you shouting at you and stuff that you actually might have preferred it when I stayed. Yeah, I have my flaws, but maybe at least you know where you were. Do you see what I mean? That happened in France. They thought the aristocracy was terrible, so in a howling storm, they completely got rid of it. And sadly, as a result, it was chaos and lots of people got killed. And do you know what? The poor people, they didn't do any better. So there is a sense of sadness, not only through Rose being a woman who is sick and she's beautiful, but what if Rose is a country and there's this burning, like troublesome revolution coming? Blake builds up this warning. So that would be my analysis. That would be my point evidence evaluation. I'm saying there's an extra sad atmosphere because there's this fear of the French Revolution coming and destroying everything that England holds. You could also forget all that. If you don't like the politics, you don't like the French Revolution, you could just say that stick to the same idea that Rose is a woman, and there's a howling storm, meaning she's invited a lover in and she's enjoying his affection, but it gets too far. We now as a society are very sophisticated on consent, consenting sexual relationship, meaning at any point a woman can say no or a man can say no, and no means no, no matter what has been said beforehand. You can back out at any point. Back then, they didn't think like that. So maybe Rose has enjoyed this kind of lover, this seduction, and there's a howling storm, meaning the lover takes what he wants from Rose and she doesn't consent to it. So in some ways, there's a rape. Okay? And that, oh my goodness, that is so, so sad. So you could go those two ways if you pick that particular point. Okay, so today I want you to write paragraph 3, telling me how an extra sad atmosphere is created. You're welcome to use the howling storm as an example, but you can also scan through and see if you can see anything else sad there you'd like to comment on. I really can't wait to read these extracts. I'll mark them on the weekend. Can I just say, why are we doing this? We're doing this because it's my job, because we don't have an exam, to gather as much evidence of your cleverness as I can. And if this is really good, which I'm sure it will be, I'm just going to copy and paste it and put it into a file in case I need it to prove that you are very good at essays. So take this opportunity and let's see how well you do. And if you make lots of mistakes, that's good too, because then in my next set of lessons, I can work out how to fix them. Okay, thank you so much for listening. By the way, if you're wondering why to put a picture of a rose on a piece of concrete, I typed into Google sad rose, thinking of your question and rose, and that's what happened. And that's also why there's a skull and a rose. Just trying to amuse you. You know, we've all got time on our hands. Why not Google a couple of pictures of a sad rose? Really looking forward to seeing you on Monday. I hope you have a good weekend. Bye.